Well, here's another BudK special, 2 for 1. I like getting from these guys. First off, BudK's like out of Georgia, and since they only got a stick and mortar and brick store, whatever you want to call it, in Georgia, if you order from out of Georgia, you don't pay any sales tax, and they got a lot of good deals. This was a 2 for 1 special, 2 for 20 bucks. I think $5 for shipping, which is cheap. It's Bushmaster. I'm sure it's made in China or something. I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, handcrafted in China. But let me just say this: you might as well buy these things while you get these kind of discounts, whether it's made in China or not. Maybe it's not the best survival tool, but you know, it's a good knockaround tool, and this seems like a pretty hefty tool to me. It's stainless. It's got a spring in there. You know, you got your. You know, I usually like carrying a knife and a small pair of needle nose vice grips versus these things, because the needle nose vice grips I think are a lot stronger. But, and you know, these are quite bulky. That's one thing about them. But, you know, one good thing about them too, though, in Florida law, if you carry this, you know, as far as Florida law goes, you carry an ordinary pocket knife, which means not a lockback, and or a one of these multi-tools, if it's concealed in your pocket, you're okay. You pretty much can carry a lot of other stuff not concealed, and every state is different. I just want to point that out. But usually, for the most part, these multi-tools are a lot more legal to carry, and you know, it's kind of aggravating to me. I'm going to probably put something out on my other. This video is probably going to go up on both my channels because I think it's kind of useful. But 2 for 20 bucks and $5 shipping. You know, I always look out. You know, they usually have these BOGO deals on BudK and CH Cadell's. And every once in a while, I pick something up, even though I figure I got enough stuff. What the hell? You know, if he runs you $25 for 2 of them, I'm going to actually give one of these to the guy that runs a CPA firm. You can use it in the office to, I don't know, pull out heavy-duty paper clips or something. Sometimes you need some tool in the office, and why not use this thing? It's got a little saw on it and an awl, a little screwdriver. Bottle opener, can opener. The bottle opener's on the bottom, the can opener's on the top. Phillips screwdriver, little blade. And actually, you know, the only thing, you know, I guess this saw could take the place of a serrated edge knife, because I actually use a serrated edge knife, not fully serrated, partially serrated, because like this little guy. It's a real little knife, but I don't carry a knife for a weapon. I work on cars, and I'm constantly doing stuff, even if it's to scrape off gaskets. And I like using these cheapy knives because if I'm scraping off a gasket or some kind of crud that's on something, I don't really care. I'll just sharpen it up with one of the pull-through sharpeners. I'm not a knife connoisseur. I'm not afraid to get a nick in it. That's why I like these cheapy knives, as long as they got some pretty decent steel. This one's got, there's a Kalashnikov. Now this would be, I'm going to put a video out on this because I'm going to make a suggestion in New Jersey about knife laws in this upcoming video, and I hope YouTube finds it favorable. But it's going to be very common sense. Just to give you a heads up, it has to do with their ID card. If you got a gun weapon ID card, why can't you just carry a freaking ordinary knife, you know? Don't give you a problem with it, right? You're already cleared with fingerprints and background checks, for crying out loud. But I carry a knife because I do stuff. And I got the harmonic balancer off this thing yesterday. It came off pretty easy. It was, I forgot about that. You can use the bolts from the water pump to screw into the harmonic balancer, and you use the puller and it came right off. So I'm pretty much home free with this damn thing almost. It's got to take the grill out. I'm just painting stuff, so it's taking a long time. Me painting all that rust, you know, that garbage. Rust killing primer. But this is a good deal. It's a good deal. I mean, it's worth it even for 20 bucks. It's a pretty hefty freaking jobber here, man. If you close all these up, let's leave the blade open just for the hell of it, because I'll show you. You know, I'm not gonna get around here too much, but it's nice. It's got that spring in there. I think some of the early ones didn't have that spring. It's got the wire cutters in there. That's handy. That serrated edge would be good for stripping wires, that little metal blade. The other thing is, let's do it like this. Not too good for the blade here, but you got your little knife, and shit, I'll just touch it up again after this. I always use the pull-through sharpeners on these little freaking jobbers. It's kind of a hefty little sucker though, because that's why I usually carry, I carry a knife with a serrated edge, which takes the place of mostly what you use a saw for. But this has a lot more than that, and it's a little stronger. You can see this blade's a little longer too. But it's still very useful, and it's even worth it for 20 bucks, not alone 2 for 20. Let me shut this thing. Saw would be very handy for cutting like your zip ties, your tie ties, if you got to cut those, or if you got to cut some hose. Because I found that the serrated edge cuts the hose a lot cleaner than just a clean edge, unless you use some like tin snips or bolt cutters or something. Because you want a nice clean cut at the end of those hoses when you install them. You can also strip the insulation off the wires if you want to. That's what I like the serrated edge for on a pocket knife, but this has this. But it is significantly bigger than an ordinary pocket knife. That's why a lot of times I carry, if I'm going to carry something else that I need pliers for, little mini vice grips, I carry those tiny, the smallest 5-inch needle nose vice grips, because they're stronger than this sucker. But it's still not bad. It's still not bad. If you could probably, I think you would, if you had this on your boot, I think you would feel that sucker. This thing, I don't even know what's there, man. That's one thing I like about it. But, it's not as useful as that. But, what I'm pointing out is they got some, every once in a while, they got some super, super, super good deals on BudK or C.H. Cadell. They're not, as big box retail place. They're not, they're out of Georgia. They're just, they have the stores only in Georgia. So if you're ordering from up north or something like that, or out west or Midwest or one of the other southern states, you're not going to pay sales tax because it's not. They don't have a brick and mortar store located in other states outside of Georgia, and you're supporting stuff instead of going into Wally World or something, Target or some garbage, or Lowe's or whatever the hell it is. Why not support places like this? When they got 2-for-1 sales, man, they got some freaking good deals. And like I always like getting the knives a lot because I'll always carry a knife with me. It's on, I got like a half a dozen pairs of boots out there, always ready. I'll wear different ones every day, pretty much every day. And every one of my boots has a knife holder on it, like that. And it's not because it's a weapon, it's because I do stuff, like usually it's stuff like this, or it just could be opening up boxes, it could be a million different things. I'm always doing something. Here's my workbench. It's actually very organized, believe it or not. It doesn't look it, but I know where everything is. But, I don't know. I just, every once in a while, what the hell, pick something up. I know, like on the American-Russian Survival channel, I found out that's a politically incorrect term, but survival, but whatever. We're all trying to survive, aren't we? One way or the other. Even if we work in an office or something. Which, that's primarily what I've always been doing, but I've always kept one foot in the redneck stuff. That's why I know how to do other things. But, I like these beater knives too, because if, so the total cost of this shipped is $12.50 with the ship, because there's 2-for-1. So, say for instance, you dropped it someplace and you just can't find it. It just disappeared into the ground, like sometimes stuff happens. Not often, but every once in a while, something like that happens. It's like you're not going to have a conniption because it cost you $112, right? It cost you $12.50, right? That's another reason I like getting a lot of these extras. And like I said, I don't really use, I'm not out there carving wood with it or something like that, or I don't know, making stuff out of, I don't know, doing some intricate stuff, and my knife blade can't have a freaking nick in it. Man, I do all kinds of crap what you're not supposed to do. And then I just take the pull-through sharpener and sharpen them up. And I have yet to wear out an old blade. I got a knife from Walmart. I think it's a Remington or it's a Winchester brand for $5. Oh, probably about 12, 13 years ago. It's still good. I used to use that all the time for all my mechanical stuff. All the time. And I start getting extras because I always keep one on each one of my boots, and I have extras. And this is the kind of good stuff to keep and prep up on. And I think I only got one multi-tool. So I figured, what the hell, I'll get a multi-tool. This thing's pretty good, though. It's pretty good. 2 for 1. So even if I'm going to probably give one to the guy that runs the CPA firm this weekend, so you can use it in the office. It's a good little, you can use this. You can use this like pretty much for a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes they got these heavy-duty fasteners and stuff, and sometimes there's a screw loose on a cabinet or something like that, or something office chair. You can tighten it up. You got this thing in handy. So it's handy for not just survival, but home, car, and something like that. Most states, if you have that in your car, man, they ain't gonna freaking give you a hard time about that. New Jersey, probably, but most states, because it's a multi-tool, obviously the purpose behind it is to repair. And even though I carry a knife that, in my state, this is 100% fine. Even in Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Florida, it's all fine to carry this knife, except concealed, right? Which is not concealed because it's in a holder. Because it's got a push button, that would be illegal in a lot of states, even though this is a very small knife. And but I have it like with the push button, because sometimes if I'm working on something, I'll reach down, I'll take this knife out, and I'm holding something, and I press the button, and the knife's ready, instead of having to, use 2 hands to open it up. And plus, it locks in position, which is good because you don't want it snapping back on your finger and going, ouch. But if you have a lock black, that's not considered an ordinary pocket knife. It's like, did you ever look in somebody's kitchen? How many knives are in people's kitchens? It's like they don't freak out about it, but they freak about other stupid stuff. And the knife stuff aggravates me more than anything because it actually is a tool. It's a tool just like all the other stuff that I might have in the toolbox. That's all it is. It's one of these things. That's all it is. It's like they give you a hard time about every damn thing. So, where are these lawmakers been batting? I'm kind of bitching right now, and I'm kind of going off too long, but it is true. These lawmakers are out of touch with reality. They don't fix their own cars. I think as soon as the thing's ready to change the oil, they buy a new one, right? Because they got so much money flowing in from their political scams. They don't have to lift their pinky up to do anything, right? They probably don't even drive the damn car, right? so us folks that do stuff, a knife is a tool, but you can't carry this tool with you in a lot of these states. Now, my state's not too bad. The only thing you gotta, I'm gonna probably get a concealed weapons permit because I can carry a knife in my pocket. I usually carry it on my boot though, because this way I'm good. In this state, you're fine. You can carry pretty much anything as long as it's open. But every state's different. Georgia's better on knives. South Carolina's better on knives. And so is Tennessee. But Florida is actually still one of the better states for knife laws. But it's kind of like, this is what I do, man. Cooter's Garage, man. I'm more like, I got a knife for these kind of reasons right here. Cooter's Garage and Dixie Motor Law. So, and that's one reason that multi-tool is pretty good. The multi-tool is kind of bulky, though, but it's a good thing to keep in your car, as long as it's legal to do so in your state. Most states, you're going to be a lot better off with a multi-tool with legalities than even an ordinary, multi-tool and pocket knife. Usually those are the least restricted in states. Most states are pretty good with, except for like I don't know, some of the weird states up in Northeast. I'm not sure what the laws are in California, but they're probably a lot more lenient than what's in the Northeast, man. They didn't get around to freaking knives yet. People in California still work on cars, man. It's got the hot rod freaking climate out there, you know what I mean? Anyway, over to that. And definitely, this multi-tool would be great for keeping in the motorcycle, which I have in here. I got some other tools though. I got the little vice grips, and I got, you know, knives and shit, but regular knife. But still, this can suffice for a lot of stuff. And if you're on a bike and you got a multi-tool with you and it's in your saddlebag, I don't know. Depends on the person, man. You know how that deal is.